Hi, my name is Dr. Karen E. Wells, and I want to talk today about really why therapists start to struggle within their therapy business. And I want to look at the top 10 reasons really why this could be happening to therapists. So whether you're a therapist yourself or you're looking at becoming a therapist and beginning your journey in the therapy world, let's look at the top 10 reasons why therapists start to struggle, so that if this is you, you know how to avoid it, how to get yourself out of these struggles, or if you're looking at becoming a therapist, you will know how to avoid these things. So I would say the first thing that hinders somebody as a therapist and starts to affect their therapy journey is really emotional burnout. As therapists, we are listening constantly to people's stories of things that have happened to them. And you take client after client after client. And this kind of crosses over into various other ones that all kind of accumulate to make things your part of your struggle. But really emotional burnout, I would say, because we're so used to giving as a therapist. You just constantly give. You're listening. And all of a sudden it's the end of your day, end of your week, end of your month, end of your year. There's nothing left. There's nothing in the tank left for you, your family, your partner. And you're just on an emotional burnout. And sometimes that can cause you to just crash immediately. So it's about self-care, isn't it? It's about recognizing that burnout and what's happening to you with your clients. So maybe cut back on the amount of clients that you're seeing. Look into other avenues that you can make an income rather than seeing client after client after client. So that would be the first thing I would say, and that really can impact your health, your well-being, your family, your relationship. The second point I would say would be trauma. So when you're dealing with clients, and like I said in the first point, you get to that emotional burnout, but with the trauma, sometimes you're listening to what can be really kind of only described as pretty horrendous, traumatic stories that your clients have gone through. And that, of course, is going to impact you. You may have had something similar going on in your own life that's created a trauma for you. And, it's brought it all up again. I think part of becoming a therapist, I've been a therapist now for nearly 20 years, and I started working with clients, face to face. And I had many clients day by day. And, some of the things that you would hear, would be incredibly upsetting. And you've got to kind of compose yourself and, think you can't show that emotion in front of your client that it's bringing up for you, because, you're the one that's supposed to be kind of helping them. So, listening to those stories, listening to those experiences are going to have an impact on you, whether they resonate with you or not. So, simple steps like taking cold showers after each client, really maybe doing some fast writing or some writing that can start to empty out of your cells. Going for a walk in nature, do exercises that are going to clear you as a therapist, because otherwise that's going to tag on to your emotional burnout, and that's not good for you at all. In a way, all of these are kind of, they're all linked really. So the third top reason I would say that therapists struggle really is we often have, we find it difficult to set our boundaries. So, it is that client after client after client. And then if somebody's got your personal mobile number, they could be calling you, texting you 9-10 o'clock at night. And you think, oh, I'm a therapist, I'm helping this person. I shouldn't really kind of leave them until the next day. It can be emails as well. And so there's that repetitive thing where you feel that, you need to constantly be there for your clients. So it's about setting your own boundaries, isn't it? It's about balancing the empathy that you have for your client, but, maintaining that professional distance that you've got. So that is going to help you to really set your boundaries with the third thing that I would recognize that is in the top 10 things that are hindering therapists and really, increasing their level to struggle and, perform effectively within their therapy practice. Number 4 is going to be financial strain. As therapists, my background is hypnotherapy. So commonly, you would see a client for between 2, 4, 6 sessions, something like that. So it's a kind of constant hamster wheel of clients coming for sessions. A client will finish their sessions. You've got to have another client coming in. So all of that financial strain, if you're becoming self-employed maybe for the first time, and you're used to having a regular paid job, you've taken a leap of faith into the therapy world because there's this thing inside of you that you really want to help people. And then bam, all of a sudden, you've got the burnout, you're having trouble setting boundaries, you're dealing with trauma, and now you've got financial strain. I mean, look, I'm not making it sound good, am I, for becoming a therapist? Believe me, there are a million reasons that make it one of the most rewarding jobs in the world. But yes, financial strain can hit hard. So sometimes it's about looking at ways to broaden your horizons and not rely on clients after clients after clients. If you're a counsellor, you might see a client for, 6 to 12 months. It could be longer, it could be shorter. But hypnotherapy, other therapies as well, they're often quick turnovers because of the rapid success of the therapy. But that can put a financial strain. So look at ways of how you can create a passive income and take some of that financial strain off your shoulders. The 5th reason I would say would be to, and it comes back to setting boundaries, but let's look at the work-life balance. If we reflect back to the setting boundaries that we talked about, if you've got a client that's emailing you all the time, texting you, calling you, and it's 9, 10 o'clock at night, you might have a young family that, you're putting your kids to bed, or it's your one time, the kids are in bed, and you can actually, sit and enjoy yourself in the evening, maybe watch a movie, something like that. When you've got clients contacting you, it's about those boundaries again, isn't it? But it's about the work-life balance. Take a day off a week. If you're looking for more financial stability and you get into passive income, maybe that enables you to take an extra day off a week. So you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. Go away for a long weekend. Really bring your focus to the work-life balance, because if you don't have that, you don't have anything in your own tank to be able to help anybody else. The 6th thing I would say would be high expectations. Sometimes we as therapists, I've had clients in the past, I've had the most beautiful clients over the years, but some of them, they may have made me raise the odd eyebrow or two, or sort of, have a little giggle to myself, but they might have unrealistic expectations of you. So this is the high expectations that can, almost add onto that strain with somebody. So, that can be mentally taxing, really. And if those high expectations, I remember once I'd flown somewhere to see a private client. I won't say where, because he might sort of recognize himself in this, but I flew somewhere to see a private client, and I'd gone there for 3 days, and we were talking, and he had certain things that he wanted to resolve. So I flew out for 3 days to work solely with him and to do some sessions and overcome these issues that he had. Perfectly reasonable, perfectly fine, absolutely gorgeous guy. He was a top businessman, very, very successful. But his mind, he sat in front of me, we did the consultation for the hypnotherapy sessions, and he said, right, go on, good luck. You'll just flip my mind and just solve it all for me. Yep, that would be nice. It doesn't quite work like that though, does it? Yes, I'm the therapist, or you are the therapist, but half of the work comes from your client. They've got to open up. They've got to be honest with you as a therapist, with themselves. And they, if you set them homework, tasks to do, they've got to be doing that. They've got to be putting the effort in. So I always say 50% of the effort comes from the therapist, from me sitting here in the therapist chair, and 50% comes from you, the client. So, sometimes those high expectations, they can be a little bit mentally taxing, and that can, add on to the emotional burnout that we were talking about at point number 1. Now, number 7, I would say, would be about managing ethical dilemmas. So, sometimes these things can be mentally exhausting and challenging. You've got somebody in front of you that, there's an ethical issue there. What do? Do you still continue to see them as a therapist, or do you say, do you know what, this is not my expertise? This is not something that I can help you with. I think it would be great if you went ahead and saw somebody else that I can refer you to, or to another kind of therapist whose therapy is going to work better than you. And if that happens, sometimes it can reflect on your own self-esteem as a therapist. So, sometimes you think, I just didn't have the tools. I just did not have the tools to be able to help that client. And you feel bad because you've got this empathic side. You're the therapist. You should be able to help everybody with their issues. But, it's not always the case. Sometimes you have to, refer your clients on. If it's not your area of expertise, it's or there's something there that you're not comfortable with dealing with, refer them on, and that's absolutely fine. It's better to do that than to take them through a course of therapy and then the expertise that you have is not enough to help them. So, that can be a little bit challenging if you are navigating those ethical dilemmas. So that is what I would say is point number 7. Within the top 10 struggles of maintaining, a healthy and successful therapy practice. Number 8, I would say, is sometimes, dealing with cultural competence. This is having an understanding of diverse client backgrounds is crucial. Now, you would think that most therapists are used to dealing with a lot of clients from different ethical backgrounds and everything that comes with that. But it's not always the case. And again, if that's something that you struggle with, refer them on. You don't have to take on anything that you're not comfortable with. You don't have to take on anybody that you're not comfortable with. Refer them to somebody else if there's somebody else that that might be comfortable with that. And it's absolutely fine. I remember in the early days of being a therapist, I had a client that came with some actual complex sexual issues. And I hadn't been qualified that long. And to be honest, it kind of brought up some issues for me. And so I referred him on to somebody that had expertise within that sexual issue field that he needed help with. No embarrassment at all, and off he toddled to somebody that could really help him. So there's absolutely no shame in referring your clients on. Anything that you do not feel comfortable with, know that you've got the self-esteem and the confidence to be able to say, no, I'm not going to take you on as a client, and that's fine. So number 9 in the top 10 things of therapists struggling is, I would say, is keeping up with research and training. So as a hypnotherapist, as a counselor, in the field of psychology, whatever it is that you're studying or whatever it is that you're qualified in, whether that's 6 months, 2 years, 20 years, 50 years, it doesn't matter. Things are always being updated. There are new techniques that are coming out. Things are always evolving. So, you've got to keep up with that research and the training. With that, I would say having, a mentor that's well-versed in your expertise or an area of therapy that you want to look into or really get to grips with. Having the right mentor can really help you do that. So it's keeping up with research, it's keeping up with the latest trainings, the latest code of ethics, and, having a mentor definitely will help you. The last thing I would say, and I've put this at number 10, but really they're all as relevant as each other. And, you might be listening to this video and think, well, okay, I kind of resonate with point number 1, 4, 6, but the rest of them I don't, and that's absolutely fine. Some of you might resonate with all 10 things, and that's great. So number 10, I would say, is managing a practice. Now, if you've gone from being an employee to being self-employed or having a limited company, being a director, being employed, whatever it is, and you come to manage your own practice, it is completely different because you are building a business from scratch. There's so many different things that you need to think about. Not only your training, your expertise, the issues that you can help your client with, but your boundaries. What hours are you going to work? What days are you going to work? How are you, even simple questions like, how do you want your clients to contact you? Are you happy to give your personal mobile number out? Do you want to have a business mobile number? Do you want them to just contact you via email? How are you going to do your marketing? How are you going to find those clients? So, it's one thing setting up your business and going, hey world, I'm Dr. Karen E. Wells. Come and find me. Your website falls into trillions and trillions of websites out there. But really, how are they going to find you? You've got to have a marketing plan. Yeah, you're going to have a website. Yes, you're going to have a Facebook page, Instagram, all the social networks that your potential clients could be on. But how are they going to find you? Do you want to just work locally? So, people within your town or region. Currently I'm filming this. I've been in Australia for 4 years, but I'm back. I'm living in West Yorkshire now in the UK. If I've still got potential clients, if I wanted to, in Australia, I actually don't work personally with clients anymore because I've built my business to be online and through courses. And because I've been so successful in working with clients and with students as well, this is how I can reflect back on these issues and tell you how to avoid them. But yeah, how are you going to, if I was just moving here as a therapist, I've moved to an area of West Yorkshire actually with my family, but I don't know anybody here. So how am I going to find potential clients? I'm pretty near somewhere that's quite alternative. So, that really takes in an alternative vibe, hypnotherapy, counselling, that kind of thing's 10 to a penny. So how am I going to stand out if I wanted to amongst those established therapists? So having that mentor is always a good idea. But yes, managing a practice can be incredibly overwhelming. And I would put that at, yes, number 10 for in the top 10 things that therapists struggle with. But I wouldn't say it's down the line at number 10. It's as relevant for any therapist or any budding therapist as any of the other points. So I hope that you've enjoyed listening to me ramble on about these top 10 issues that therapists struggle with. And have a great day. Take care.